You know, April is one of my very favorite months of the year. I love April because it reminds me of, well, for one thing, April, as a gardener, is a beautiful month in my yard because all the flowers and the pastels all start blooming and blossoming and everything looks good. And just about the time things dry out a little bit, you get a little rain and it moves the garden along some more. And boy, we can have some nice gatherings in the garden and some awful beautiful Icelandic poppies and all kinds of little beautiful flowers blooming all over. Even the roses are starting to come back now. So it's a beautiful time of year. It isn't always a beautiful time of year. I can remember, about 22 years ago, it was a beautiful time of year, but it was a rough day, I remember, in April. And that's one of the reasons I always remember April, because I can never forget April the 29th, which was a big day here in L.A. It was the day when the verdict on Rodney King was coming down. And we were all waiting with bated breath to see, because the trial was supposed to be in Los Angeles for these policemen everybody had seen beat the heck out of Rodney King. And, sentiment was obviously running against these officers. So they moved the trial to Simi Valley, where there were lots of retired police officers, basically, and formed a jury of mostly white people and a few, I think the prosecuting attorney was an African-American fella and maybe one juror. And but 8 or 9 of the 12 jurors were all white. So the day came when the verdict came down, and then all hell broke loose, as everybody in the world, I guess, knows. It was personal here when you lived in L.A. because all of a sudden the streets were on fire, buildings were being crashed. I remember driving up the hill towards my home and seeing a fire and smoke in the background that looked almost like my own house was on fire, or walking around in my living room here in Silver Lake and smelling the smoke from all the fires that were being burned. People were being injured. 53 people were killed. 10 of them shot by the police, and others were shot for looting and all kinds of stuff. Guys were grabbing their pickup trucks as far away as up here in Lancaster and driving into town to pick up stuff out of stores. It was a free day in L.A., and people were picking up all kinds of loot, even down at the big electrical shop that used to be there on Sunset. We drove by. They were all rushing towards it. We went to the bank. The bank was closed, had a sign on it that said, "Closed today because of what's happening in L.A." And on the way back, you could see them coming out of that store carrying big old TV sets and all kinds of recording equipment and record players and anything they wanted. It was all for the taking. And people gathered it up and headed for their automobiles or headed for the houses. And it was a terrible day in Los Angeles. It was really a terrible time. And I was always struck by the beauty of the day contrasted with the horror of what went down that day. And of course, a lot of incredible things happened as a result. The police force was integrated on a much higher level, and a big investigation of the police department, a reanalyzation of excessive force was put into effect, and the police chief, who had been hanging around for too long, resigned, and a lot of things changed because the people were like combustion. When that verdict went down, people just exploded. We all felt the visceral anger at what we conceived to be or saw to be an incredible injustice in this situation. And it was really something. But we wrote a nice little song about that day. And it doesn't have anything to do with the riots, but it has a lot to do with the day and with L.A. in April. So I'm going to sing it for you right now. When the smoldering jacarandas meet the jubilant agapanthus, bum 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 Bom, 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 bom. There is a window period, late April, mid-June, oh, when Los Angeles wears her purple bloom. Bom, 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 purple bloom. Bom, 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 purple bloom. Pathways of purple, purple air. Even houses turn purple when you live there. Bom, 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 bom. All together. There is a window period, late April, mid-June, oh, when Los Angeles wears her purple bloom. Bom, 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 purple bloom. Bom, 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 purple bloom. Pathways of purple, purple air. Even houses turn purple when you live there. Boom, 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 boom. Even people turn purple with purple hair. I know you've seen it. All right, so there we go. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I love those agapanthus. I just love them. They're so beautiful, especially the streets where it's just nothing but agapanthus when they're all in bloom. It just doesn't get any prettier than that. All right, we're going to start off with our very first guest this evening. Is a young fella. He came right off those mean streets. He was a fellow that just happened to attend a reading one time at his high school, and he just watched these young classmates of his get up and start riffing and rapping and telling stories. And something inside him moved him to think that he could do it. And he raised his hand, and he got up there, and lo and behold, he just rapped one right out. And pretty soon, every Wednesday came around, he'd go, and he'd just make it up right on the spot and bring it right on. And his teacher was impressed and got him to start writing it down. And he's been writing them down, and he's been making them up. And it's a pleasure to have a wonderful young fella. Let's give a big warm welcome to Ideas Aubrey.
I was not just something beautiful. And not just an extra mic and just tell me what you was all. You was just that beautiful words. I was not just lonely in it, cold by it, depressed by it. I had lived my ways of life and never changed the things around my own true neighborhood. All I hear was the extra gun violence. Riots are going down the streets, and people just lost their minds. Every time I just feel just lonely and cold and depressed. I isolate myself in this box. I whip down poetry around my emotions. I tattoo my life. I blaze with it. I divided with it. I've had changed it. I saw darkness and fear, and every time I look at it, I imagine myself being lonely in the coldest winters and singing them blues of poetry around the Mississippi River. I had cried myself to sleep. I rocked the cradle to me. Hush, little baby, don't even cry. 'Cause mama's gonna be there right before your side. She gonna kiss you and kiss your blooming days and make you a whole better man. I remember those days. She was my wife. I speak to her each and every night. She knows my cry, my anger, my depression, but every time I'm on this mic, she shows me a whole different character. I am that poet. to encourage, to inspire every artist of poetry, art, and music. She's my own giving soul every time I just say. Without poetry, I'll be doing the same thing in high school. Gang violence, running from the cops. Maybe I should sag my pants and think I'll be a gangster. But this mic, she is beautiful. She is my art. She is my humble pie. She's my cookies and cream ice cream on top. She is something I can never imagine. She opened me to the extra light. So when I hear this April, New Poetry Natural Month, I remember those days. I sing the blues of the Mississippi Put. She opened up the books of Shakespeare, Emily Dickinson. She opened the books of Saul Williams, my only idol I look up to. She give me something different. This is my mic. She is my wife. I speak to her each and every night. I give something different. I encourage everyone to put it on the line. Your blood, your sweat, this domain, this kingdom of home. This is your home. This is your home from that reality world out there. This is the way you get away from that 9-to-5 job. This is the way you go away from that school, those papers, the midterm. This takes away from everything. A prayer, a chant, a mic. So my wife. So thank you for the nice, lovely words you always encourage. Because without you, well, hell, I might be lost in this man world. So thank you. She told me to remove myself and everything I never imagined. She told me to take away your childish thing and take away your childish thing. Take away your childish ways. Take away your childish thing. She told me to take away your childish thing and put it inside a sock and roll it up like an extra paper and throw it out there. She told me something. Those are extra winds around your eyes. The springs are coming with a blossom. Those are words to lift yourself around. Those are words to lift yourself and tilt your things around. Those are words to lift the scriptures of the Bible. Those are words you need to go out there and speak around your people. Those are words you need to travel around this world and get back to peace and honor. Those are the words you need to get back to who you are and look yourself in the mirror. Take the crumbs out your eye. Take the tears off your soul. Do you remember them times when you was in that box and isolated yourself? And you remember those times you forgot who you really was? Those are cold waking nights. The brother in the back was playing the djembe. And I was cold and alone, solitary in my back. My back was aching when pills inside of me. All I can really think is take an extra needle and shoot her up. My mama put me out at the age of 21. She told me, son, you are a man. Now you need to grow up. I took 2 bags and went left, right, side by side. I cried with no tears around my soul. I hold verses of suicide notes. I wanted to hang myself on this wall, hang something different. I just needed to get away from so much stress. I needed to get away from all these emotions. People are teasing me. They had scarred me. They had left me. They had given me something I can never imagine. I'm mold of it. I am cold with it. I am darkness it. I had wanted to feel something much different, but the brother with the djembe was just playing stuff in that park. And that rhythm was something different. I wanted to change something about myself. I wanted to look at myself in that mirror. I remember the times, brother, you were just lazy. Mama still loved you, but you were just lazy. You need to get your life together, man. Get off your own 2 feet and let's rise. Let's take the ashes off our back and let's rise. Let's open up our eyes and see the beautiful things about us. It doesn't matter what you suffer. This is your scar, the battle scars you are faced. Go out there and rise like the blossom of a tree. Let the sun glow in your eye. Let's rise. Let's change it. Let's open it. Let's get something back. Become who you are. Trust in yourself. Don't let no insecure fool tell you can't make it in this world because he just going psychotic and crazy. Let your stories and your poetry impact others. Impact to you with education and arts. Because with LAUSD today, they really ain't doing nothing for all young kids out there. Let's give back to the homeless. Because LA is too much. The population is just doubled and doubled each year. You remember those times. And you was hungry, digging in, trifling. But you're not lost. You're not alone. Your friends and your family is inside you. Your Christianity is on your back. Your Buddha's chants is in your spirit. It's your aura what people say to come look at you perform. So why do I perform? I don't perform for the fame or the fortune. I don't perform to make myself better. I don't perform to be scribed on YouTube and Twitter and on Facebook. I perform to change this population in the world. I want to change what people see inside our arts. I want people to understand poetry is their own given talent. I didn't go out the bed and start speaking. I practiced, I read it, and I struggled with it. I kept it pushing. So I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm speaking to everybody right now. So use your art to change someone, to impact someone. If your neighbor right beside yourself, we can change it and we can rise. Because in LA, we are in lost souls. It's not New York, it's not the East Coast. We are lost. We need to regroup. We need to stand. And we need to rise. Thank you. This is going to be my last piece. I'm just going to go straight in. Look at yourself. Look what you started. Look at what you done. Look at your legacy. Look at your project. Look at who you are. Look at you. Oh, sonny boy, are you ready to fight? Oh, man, are you ready to get down and rumble and stand and flows your life? Look at you. Take a step back. Take one step back. Get on your chains, boy. Get on your chains, let's run. Run and no one can never find you. Run. Run when someone can never see you. Run with coldness. Run with anger. Run to change it. This is something that I live for, to run. I run to get away from something. I run from my past and things I can never imagine. I run from the devil who's trying to kill me. Look at yourself. Paint something, imagine. Give who you are. Lift your voices and let them behold. One, find who you are and give it back. Give it back to what you have started in this time. And I'm living this immorality, fantasy, cursing, things I can never give. And I'm running with something I can never imagine. And I'm broken in 2,000 pieces in my life. Look at yourself. Now and me in you. Where have you been in your life? That's the question don't ask. That's when you marinate inside you. Have you been alone? Have you been to them times you just really forgot who you really was? Have you been picked on, bullied on, spit on? Have you been through fights and you just can't even win? Look at yourself. Look in deep and cold and down into your hearts. Find what's ribbon in you, what's proud in you, who makes you. Look at you. Are you alone? I'm alone. I'm always alone. I'm always itching for a fight, itching to be aggressive, itching to compete, itching to get on this stage and perform like it's my highest moment, my highest time. I'm itching to express. I am something, imagine myself in things I can never give. I shine on the lights. I go on the rocket ship to galaxies and galaxies and drop knowledge, whatever it is. I am looking in the deep and soul of your life. Don't scar me, don't bury me, don't give me, don't challenge me. Just give me something back in my life. Look at you. Look at your legacy you have started. Look at the project you are making. Do it for the youth. Do it for the kids. I tell my young men and young ladies, especially my man, put up your pants, son. You guys know I want to see your SpongeBob Dookie underwear. You want to be a cholo gangster? You don't know what a gangster is. You go down to South Central Hill, don't with the gunshots. Ladies, between those legs are treasures of love. Don't sell your soul for an extra dollar, extra quickie. Because that pimp ain't really don't give a damn about you. Be proud to be a woman. Black and proud. Aging with love. Whites and blacks and Mexicans, let's get together. No more of this violence. That's what's really wrong with us today. We just look at you, not even say hi, hello, how you been, just walk right past you like a stubborn fool. Maybe I'm just different. Am I? I don't know. I maybe dress different, talk different. This is just who I am. Look at yourself. Look what you started. Look at what you're about to change in generations and generations of times. Look deep core of you, not the eyesight, not the skin problem. Look core of your life, buried in you. This is your magic. This is your son. This is your mother, your father bleeding, tearing around you. Look at you and believe what you started, and believe what you can change, and go out there and leave your mark. And I'm done.
Thank you, Ideas. Let's give them another nice big hand. Good job. Yeah, Ideas reminded me of a time when I was sitting in my garden with one of my young friends, and he was having a very hard time in his life. And I said, I said, you know, I can remember a time when I was laying in the back of a van along the Russian River. The van was a borrowed van. It wasn't my van. The van wouldn't start. I didn't have $1 to my name, not even $1 to my own name. And I was laying in the back of that van. I was so depressed, I didn't know what to do with myself. And he says, and then what happened? And I said, I don't know, but here I am. Actually, I think I made it over to Sacramento, and then I woke up one morning completely down and out, sleeping in a garage. Rats. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Could it be all the bones on my walls? The man says, everything plays out. I said, time to be elsewhere. A Ford Fairlane for $50. I drove it up from underground. My buddy Harold, he slipped me a C note just to get me out of town. Yeah, he still loved me, but thought it a good idea I get out of here ASAP. And that's when I headed for Los Angeles. That's how I got here. All right, I want to introduce a wonderful young woman, a very nice poet, a very nice person, too, and I want to welcome her to Storyphile. Let's give a nice, warm welcome to Lita Harris. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lee Beck. I really appreciate it. The first poem I'm going to read is Seeker of the Moon's Glow. As the darkness settles upon the earth, my heart settles for that night, the glimmer that stretches out into the night. Like a friend, I seek the moon's glow with purpose, to surrender without the pressures of being somebody, free of my own mind. I glance up and stretch far and wide for the answers, the provoking hum of the night owl, to the wolf who cries our cubs to sleep. Somehow I wonder how he noticed me and plays to the trees silently. He moves along the sky, my heart melts. A corner is memorized by its romance. I leave to share my vision well into my dreams. And my second poem is actually a love song, and it's going to be interesting how it turns out. Hope you like it. It's called Linger. I'm here with you, visible in your dreams, inside your skin. I breathe you in like smoke from a desert flame. I can't make you feel any hurt or pain. Because you are the one, the light of the sun. You are what I see in reality. How could I make it better? How could I make it clearer what you mean to me? Because you are the one, the light of the sun. You are what I see in reality. I've held you so high, the moon clears away. Removed are the darker clouds that linger through my day. Because you are the one, the light of the sun. You are what I see in reality. Thank you. My last poem I'm going to read is called Tired Lady. And it's kind of a tribute to the men and women who live in downtown Los Angeles who I come across and confront in my daily life. And this is about this one lady that I know. She's mad because she's hungry. She's seen too many teardrops fall from the sky on top of her head. She's tired of people looking at her as if she's dead. She's bound to twist an anchor on the icy pavement. She opens her hands for someone to save them, to feel her emotions as she does, to have a moment to share, an open eardrum. She has taken her time to pray, to ask for forgiveness. Some say she is the cause of her laziness. It would mean so much to her to once have a laugh, to cry, to pillow on her sleep at night. But as she wakes, the dream has gone. Lonely, cold, full of resistance, a passage to her daily life. The out of home to her would be paradise. Thank you.
Nita Harris. Let's see.
If I'm the right chair.
Oh, and Matt's here even. All right, we'll have Matt next. Let's give a nice warm welcome
All right.
to this fellow here. He's just tearing up the room. I try to get these guys to show up on time or something. Okay, Matt Cedillo.
Yes.
Big hand.
How you guys doing? Whoa. All right, so I just wrote this today, so let's see how it goes. Oh, Captain, my Captain, drunk off blood anthems, blood patriots, raised flags, and fallen veterans, monuments to the heroic dead abandoned in life, myths and hymns, the bitterness of fairy tales best told by the dawn's early light. My eyes stretch your night sky, and oh, say, what did they see? My feet have beat your path, know the sins of your soil. My ears have kissed the tongue of that Bible thump, made that pilgrimage, Gettysburg to the Mason-Dixon, where the Civil War never ended and the great emancipator never lived, at least not as it was written. From Plymouth Rock to smallpox, Dred Scott to church bomb, we have seen your practice in civility. Oh, pioneers, rich off that manifest, off that go west, off that gold dust, that gold rush, all the California dreams are made of. I have peered into the eyes of your scapegoats, seen your cowboys and engines, your cultural appropriation, your Washington Redskin, Western civilization is citizen fiction, white hats, white men, and sunsets. Walter White, how much Mexican bloodshed for 1 hour of conquest entertainment. Oh, melting pot, how these bones have grown in the hellish kitchen off that stench of your bullshit, your bone-shaking tribalism, your Ellis Island, your Shanty Irish, your Yankee Doodle, your George M. Cohan, your Don Corleone, your post-racial American Idol, your Jay-Z and Don King, your only in America can I be so poor yet dream of becoming so rich. Oh, America, beat me till I believe, till I fall to my knees and sing of thee. Take me with you, make me an offer I can't refuse. Oh, Captain, my Captain, the tides and the ship hands are turning. A mutiny is brewing. Oh, revolution, put my hands in the air, my feet in the streets of Los Angeles, California, birthplace to no justice, no peace. We don't march to that war drum because we make our own beats. No justice. LA Times bomb, no justice. Watts, no justice. Chicano moratorium, no justice. 92 rebellion, no justice. 2006 with a million raised fists. I am from the rowdy section of Dodger Stadium, hometown to fuck the police. No justice, no peace. So that was new. All right. I grew up on television and so did my parents. I Love Lucy lied to them sweetly. America's favorite redhead, desire suppressed in separate beds. Censors, rest assured, everything in good taste, everything in its proper place. Every traumatic episode ends with a threat. Or Ricky's hand never far from Lucy's face, beaming in glorious black and white, wrong and right plot lines. Shade out the gray in John Wayne's shining silver city on a hill of guns and butter, where every schoolchild's desk doubles as bomb shelter, praying to the altar of the unquestioned. So, pledge your allegiance. Seal your documents and lock and load your freedom, because it is not free. Now fall to your knees and praise be to the only God in which we trust. The atom, the Manhattan, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the nuclear family, nuclear testing, and the nuclear age gave way to nuclear waste. That's me. See, I grew up in the 80s. Morning in America. Ronald Reagan and Mr. Belvedere fresh at my door, telling me that life was more than mere survival, that I may live the good life. Yet when my time came, Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, and Al Bundy were all lying in wait to convince me that I could raise a family in a 2-story on the single income of a shoe salesman. They lied. And I cry. Not for myself, but this oncoming generation of iPad kids on the Hulu and Netflix, where you pick your poison, but it rots your mind just the same. See them at cafes, sit sipping, job seeking, asking the net for deeper meaning. Who am I? Where do I belong? Of what use can I be in days such as these? Kids born at go-go gadgets, wired to networks, connected, directed to the latest trends, surf the web in search of themselves, no different from medieval serfs, waiting on the bells of the Catholic Church for the latest in Holy Writ, Holy Script, holy this, since the golden rule of pharaohs and Caesars, Romulus and Remus, Akbar and Alexander, Xerxes and Hammurabi, since the days of scribes and the books of kings, since they from on high convinced us down below that we ever needed their code of law to tell us we were free. So I'm going to do one more. I'm from originally from the city of El Sereno. Anyone know where that is? It's like right over. All right, cool. This poem is about El Sereno. It's called El Sereno. Oh, by the way, my name is Matt Cedillo. I perform at universities for a living. That's how I make a living these days. So if you're like a professor or anything like that, or know some, or student groups or that, I'm not too proud to beg or shamelessly self-advertise. So there we go. I'm neither too proud nor not proud enough, or I don't know how that works out. I'm just the right amount of shameless to do that. Here we go. I was born on the east side of Los Angeles, across the tracks from abandoned steel, an industrial petrified forest. Across the steps, a giant green tarp protected customers and gossipers, our abuelitas, from rays of sun and the bombs of birds. They spoke Spanish, sold mangoes, papayas, and cherries, my favorite. As a child, I could never quite make the connection between the broken and empty bottles across the steps and the broken and empty men poured out the rust factories from across the tracks. So my cousins and I would gather and throw rocks of dirt aimed directly for the head, and the men would yell back something like, "What do you damn kids know about life?" And we yell back, "Fuck you, drunks!" That was fucked up. That's just how it was growing up. Where Valley climbs up and over to meet Soto. El Sereno. In the 1950s, my mother's father, technician by trade, by birth a prince among men, in a backwards kingdom that held him back, that treated him different for the radiance of his unapologetic brown skin, raised a family of 6 on a single income. There is hard-fought genius in me, older than my mother's womb. December 18th, 1981. After months of fear and absence, my father makes his return. My aunt moves to protect hospital beds. She does not want to see you. You know what you did. It would be best for everyone if you were just to leave. My mother holds her newborn. Half her creation. Her only begotten son. There's a pain in me older than my father's blood. As a child, I could never quite make the connection between his fingers around my throat and the sorrow in his chest, a suffering older than my father's bones. His father's whiskey. Grandfather's short temper, long-lived legacy to a time history does not care to remember because beatings are not fit for scrapbooks and genealogies of shame rarely make their way to the oral tradition of campfire. There is a burning in my heart. The time cannot trace. Moved out from my father's, the suburbs treated me different. One day in the workforce, I told my boss, last night I met a woman, beautiful and intelligent. He asks, where at Boyle Heights? Where's that? The east side of Los Angeles. Asks, incredulous, you met an intelligent woman in East Los Angeles? I wanted to slap the cavalry from his smirk, beat the manifest destiny out of his name badge, but needing a paycheck, I stood in the weakness of silence, the pain and anguish of generations long past, alive and sickened in my chest. There is a shame forced upon us, older than the tongues of bigots. Walked off job. Marched off lot, fist up for the cause, because in a world that has told us no, that has told us different, I have chosen yes. Yes, I am Chicano. Yes, mestizo. Yes, indigenous. Have brown skin and bleed red. Yes, my unafraid, my passion, my potential, my intelligence. Yes, the fire in my chest. Look into my eyes. You can feel its strength. And yes, as a matter of fact, some of the most radiant, gifted, talented, beautiful, intelligent women I have ever met reside on the east side of Los Angeles, just across the steps from the streets where I was born. Yes, I am all of this and more. Yo soy la raza cósmica. I, like you, made of stars. You, like me, so full of pain, are brimming with genius. Listen to no one who would make you feel different. Thank you guys. My name's Master Dio.
Oh, that was great, Matt. Thank you so much. So nice to have you back. Anytime you get a chance to come, we'd love to have you. So we doing all right? Pretty good, huh? I think we've had some pretty good folks here so far. Matt, it's just great to see you and see you doing so well, and to follow you on Facebook. Faceless book. Great. Really wonderful poems, too. Let's see. I think while we're in East L.A., I have a real treat for you today. Oh, here she is. The treat herself. This woman is known on Facebook and a lot of other places as Chola Concello. I've always known her as Maria Elena Gaitan.
so I'm playing over my own track. The next piece also is very short. This is the first piece I made. It's interesting if you're working as a musician to record something, the person you're recording with is the person that you're recording with is your deep collaborator. Because if they record you wrong or they don't get what you're doing, it'll spoil everything. So I've had the great privilege of working with a really amazing sound engineer who is in the process of mastering the tracks that I lay down. And he's really intuitive. He can weave the sounds in and out in a way that I can't tell him what to do. I can just lay down the tracks and then he weaves them. And I work with another person who's really a nice man, but he just talks too freaking much. When I get to the moment where, I'm like, we're going to record Thursday or Sunday or whatever it is, when I show up, I really want just to walk in and do it. Because what's happening is I'm trying to figure out my own process for this. And so I'll share what it is because it's not, I think all artists have a process and we don't sometimes know what it is until we do it. You have to do it first and then you go like, oh, okay, I guess that's my process. So for me in music, not in performance, another performance, but in music, for this particular project, what's happening is I'm trying to find an inspiration for each song. And it comes in weird places. I don't listen to a lot of music because I think people consume music like cookies. Another one and another one and another. You don't even know what the fuck you're listening to anymore, but you just want, and when's the next one coming? I can't do that. I'll vomit if I do that. It's just too much. It's overkill. So there's times when I don't listen at all to music, and I'm just making my own music. I'm not listening at all. Or maybe I'm listening to different sounds altogether. The sounds of words are musical to me in the lips of certain people. And the sounds of nature, the sounds of the city, and all kinds of sound. But in this case, so we laid down these tracks, and the person that I'm working with, he doesn't talk a lot. He's very quiet. He's got every mic on the planet, so everything is really well mic'd. I laid down the tracks. I left. Didn't hear from him for about, not quite a week, maybe 3 or 4 days. And all of a sudden, he just emailed me the track, and it was what you're going to hear right now. And the very moment that I received it in email, I got a text message from a dear, dear friend of mine in San Francisco whose mother had just died. That very moment almost. So I am somebody who believes that I should pay attention. And so this is my friend Viva up in the Bay Area, she's an artist. She works in bronze and glass, and she makes beautiful objects. I gave this song to her, so this is called Viva's Lullaby. So it's my lullaby for her on the passing of her mother. So it's a little bit sad, and the first songs that are coming out in this recording process for me are sad. They're melancholic. And it's a little scary because I don't want them all to be like all these weeping ones, but it is what it is, and I got to get it out first. And the last one I recorded 2 weeks ago, it was different. It was starting to be more of a major piece. So I just think it's the process, and I have to not, like everybody else here who makes art, don't edit yourself. Let it out first. Edit comes later. So if you start editing at the beginning, okay.
Let's give another big hand. Don't you? It's mighty pleasant to hear. Gee, I'm just real happy with everybody we've got tonight. Everybody's doing so beautiful, such beautiful stuff. You know, and there's another fella here that I want to introduce to you who I just love. I haven't seen him for a long time, so it's really great to have him here. He's a real good poet and just a great person. And I'm really happy to have with us Jared Birdsong. Let's give him a big welcome.
All right, brother. Indeed. How you guys doing tonight? All right. It's good to, I haven't done an event with Lee in a while, so it's kind of good to, that we ran into each other. Lee actually exercises, not too far from my daughter's school, and so I see him keeping fit and running around the track. Maybe running might be exaggerating a little bit, but I see him walking around the track. Mostly he's hanging out with his friends, so I don't really want to make Lee sound like, he's a bodybuilder or anything. I'm going to do a few pieces for you. I'm trying to think what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with this piece called Every Writer is a Movement. And, I'm just going to go right into it. There you go. Every writer is a movement. It doesn't matter if it's in diaries or in legalese, science books, or even in poetry. Every writer is a movement because every is one step closer to understanding ourselves, our people, our communities. It is the sincerity of introspection, the effort to be considered before putting our own pondering of the populace into print. It is the self-doubt that can be heard in the first written word and the resolve in the last that inspires a movement. Every writer is a movement. Even the rants and ramblings of right-wing righteousness in pursuit of racial purity and religious supremacy. Their arguments give clarity to falsehoods and catharsis to fallacy. It is in the writing, word, and language of hatred that allows us to examine and consider, to bear light on its social inadequacy. It is the impetus to reach out with our imaginations across continents and oceans, orthodoxies and misconceptions, to see ourselves in one another, to define love as hate's antithesis, to help build an inclusive morality. Every writer is a movement. Every writer is a movement because writing is a rite of passage earned in an evolutionary tale expressed, etched in cave walls and stone tablets, scribbled on parchments and typed on the computer screens of imams, environmentalists, and union workers. That will exist as a record of how we've grown. That may one day give us the opportunity to truly connect our faith to our genome. Every writer is a movement. Every writer is a movement because the page is where every challenge, thesis, and theory made is not just a declaration, but an inquiry. It is where we learn that no question is off limits, that there are no blasphemies. It is where the unwritten lines of thought between the written word reveal epiphanies, and for that, every writer moves me. Sorry, I have a little bit of ear trouble here. I'm from Los Angeles. When I was a kid, my older brother's one of my older brothers was a professional hobo. He's much older than I am. When I say professional hobo, I mean like in the 1950s films, he was a cat who actually used to hop trains and he'd ride all across the country. That was his thing. It wasn't because he was homeless or that he was, for any other reason, he chose this lifestyle. So even though I didn't live in the heart of the city, which of course back in the 80s and 70s, nobody lived in the heart of the city for the most part, white flight had essentially left much of downtown essentially destitute and essentially left it and turned it into a population just for the homeless. And so at that time, I used to come downtown a lot, and that's when I started getting my kind of my bearings about what was going on. And so, anyways, I I was a bit inspired by the piece you did earlier. I know I'm like pointing you out here. It's all about you now. But and this is a piece I wrote a while ago, but your piece kind of inspired me, so I'm going to kind of follow up on yours, if you don't mind. Here it is. I am the real invisible, the truest manifestation of Ralph Ellison's existential social theory. And though such writers are, excuse me a second. I am the real invisible, the truest manifestation of Ralph Ellison's existential social theory. And though such authors are widely read, excuse me a second, my apologies. I am the real invisible, the truest manifestation of Ralph Ellison's existential social theory. And though such authors are widely read, I have seen no populist political power or purpose in sympathy for poverty. Pitied when perceived, people pretend to peer past me, a permissible practice because I do not court or accost the homed. I do not seek recovery, cots, coins, or counseling. I do not dance for food or sing for sustenance. I am unfamiliar at soup lines, soup kitchens, and food banks. At this point, I have as much use for you as you do for me. I am not sure if I am wearing shoes because I can no longer feel my feet from constant walking. And with their disfigurement and filth, they'd be unrecognizable to me if I looked. I am not sure if I have children, and if I do, I cannot remember their names. Even drugs have forsaken me. Against my delusions, they lack potency. My social bubble does not extend beyond my mental prison. I live inside my head where my demons are well fed, and my body has become the most base instinct of the human design. Survival signs. Uncivilized, ungodly, unproselytized. So churchgoers no longer truly pray for me, but for the profitability of my demise. A development is being built here. So in the meantime, just tell your children to shield their eyes. I'm the person that one day, someday, maybe, you realize you have not seen me in some time. I wonder what happened to me. A little bit of proof that I hadn't done that one in a while. Just getting started was tough and difficult. 2000. Hope remains eternal. In this millennium, the interconnected soul of all humanity will be manifest in its collective and far-reaching struggle to resolve its own selfish need to accumulate people and power in pursuit of personal passions. Historical deceptions disguised as culture or religion that have annually handed humanity its ass, past as tradition will fade. Constant learning will move our spirit. Through hip-hop and punk rock. Through reggae music and bebop. Through global and national politics. Through those that are called niggas, honkies, fags, or spics. Through scientists and abolitionists. Or through the working poor that politicians miss. Or through our newly self-actualized Uncle Ray, now known as Mind Shock, speaking, dropping poetic political science on C-Block. A prison originally constructed to bind our body, but it will revolutionize our mind. To find truth. To understand love, to have sincerity in a relationship with itself and divinity. We move forward in this new millennium for our women, for our mothers, for the victims, and for our brothers, for our sisters, for our lover, for our sons and daughters, and for all others. Hope remains eternal. Bless you guys. Thank you guys so much. Respect.
All right. All right. Now, let's see here. I think we'll bring Lady Bosco up. How about that? Ariana? This woman has been running one of the great poetry gatherings for a long time at the last bookstore. Are you still doing that, Ariana? Once a month now, huh? First Monday of the month. Well, we're sure happy to have you with us tonight. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Hi, guys. Excuse the attire. I promised to be at an engagement later this evening that requires things like this that I'm wearing. I'm a poet, amongst other things, but tonight I'm going to read from a book that I wrote. It's called Palms Up. And I'm just going to read an excerpt, and just 2 letters, and the second letter, which I'll just go right into after the first one, is not in the book. It's going to be part of this publication that it's like a I was asked to, as a continuation of Palms Up, highlight a character from Palms Up to be part of this other book. So Palms Up itself is a book. It's in the format of letters. It's from a mother to her unborn child, and it takes place in the 9 months of pregnancy. So it's everything from physical to emotional to family lineage to baby daddy drama, okay? So this excerpt tonight. Dear kid, we had plans. We had finally found each other. One night while we were swapping life stories mid-sentence, he blurted out, "Let's just get married right now." We talked about you. You would have his thick black hair and freckles dusted about your body, but mixed with your mom's latte tone, they would be the perfect contrast against your olive skin. Your lashes would be like mine, long and thick, but they would curl like your daddy's. We sorted out that you would be musical because we both are, and you would be athletic too, like your father. You would know your way around any court you might find yourself on. We would joke how amusing it would be if you came out a scientist or a doctor because our families weren't like that. We talked about being each other's every morning, every good night, making love and fighting the good fight, the ones that you have out after years and years of being with each other. We talked about dying. He told me if I were to pass before him, I was to go out and find happiness, even if it meant with another man. I asked him, what if I died first? And he said, very matter of fact, "Oh, well, I would die." See, your father isn't a bad man. He's just not a man. He didn't stick around to fight. Love, Mom. Thanks, guys. So this is from soon to be published situation. Dear Jasper, the best you can. Oh, by the way, sorry, I should preface. 2 years later. The best you can. Oh man, you have no idea. I am raising a child on my own. On top of everything else I do, you have no idea. And I've got to deal with all the mental and social, emotional, financial, physical aftermath of this ruined dream of a family. You shamed us. Breathe. This is the last love letter, the last thank you, the last shared loud smile, stint of sentiment, jolt of vulnerable, a final glimpse of what is left, a final insight into my feelings for you. See, I was on the set the other day, and a crew guy was making small talk with my brother Daniel at lunch. It was harmless, just a couple of boys talking. The crew guy was charismatic enough, and to be honest, I had taken a liking to him, his dedication to the project and his general jovial demeanor. He was talking about a girl he dated back in New York, a dancer. Her body was, as he put it, bangin', and she was mad talented. But his ego got the best of him when they were lying in bed one day, and he saw she was missing a toe. He just couldn't proceed with the relationship. Told Daniel that, "I know it's shallow, but once I'm turned off, I'm turned off." Later on in the day, it came up in the kitchen between Daniel and me, and he mentioned how funny the crew guys are, and I couldn't help but think of you. It was December 24th, and our daughter Aurora was born. After 30 years of agony, I was instructed that a cesarean was the best route to go, and so it was. At 7:54 p.m., our little blessing came into the world. As a new mother, I was elated. As a woman, an object of attraction, a muse, a symbol of eye candy, I was less than stellar. On top of the whole missing one ear debacle, my hair was a hot mess, my body was warped out of its own bounds, and my incision was so fresh I couldn't walk, eat, or barely speak. And then there was you. So you came back into my life days before my due date, and just in time to get your name on Rory's birth certificate. I had you promise that if you came to the birth, you were not allowed to make it about you. That it wasn't even about me, it was about Rory and having as healthy a delivery as possible. And for once in our short-lived relationship, you let it all go and stand by me. It was the closest we'd ever been to, for better or worse. So much so, when that horrible night nurse pulled the catheter out, and I was forced to get up to relieve myself, and it hurt so bad to walk and sit. You were there. You cleaned me up. Okay, the stress and the pressure were so great that as a result, I was branded with hemorrhoids. The worst possible torture I would never, ever wish on anyone. And there you were, down there, humorously and earnestly assessing the situation. Baby, you got a few the size of dimes, but I gotta tell you, it's these quarter-size ones that are really concerning me. And I would cry in pain, in part because it felt like a knife coming out of my ass, and partly from the sheer hilarity of the situation and the toll laughter had due to the major abdominal surgery I just went through. And the cry laughter would only increase when I would look up and catch a glance at myself in the mirror, all bandaged up, face bulged, belly hanging out of itself, and strands of hair flying every which way. Setting aside that you abandoned ship a third of the way into the pregnancy, on those few days in the hospital, you were not shallow. Isolating those 5 days following Aurora's birth, you were in the middle of the ocean, and you were my life jacket. You took care of me wholeheartedly. I would like to thank you for that. You loved me when all my walls were down. You loved me as I never knew I required to be loved. I will have you know that in my letters to Aurora, as she grows, the words exchanged between her and I regarding you will never be catty or trite. In fact, some go as far as to say you get off as being the hero. Make no mistake, just because I won't disrespect you doesn't mean I respect you. You will never find me shunning you to Rory. She will learn for herself in her own time why and how and who her father is and what role she wants her father to play in her life. That is her decision. Meanwhile, I spend very little time lamenting your absence. I am, after all, raising a child, and it demands much of my time, leaving me little to none to dwell on petty, trivial pursuits. And that being said, I have allotted this time for you and your frivolous attempts of communication over the first year of your daughter's life. And when I say frivolous, I mean to say rare and uncommon bursts of I love you text and I promise I've got a plan emails that in good conscience I could not merit with a response. I am writing you now because I on any hopes of you engaging in an actual voice-to-voice communication. And your last note, after months of silence, about doing the best you can, made me grunt and chuckle in disbelief. This email crept out of the archives tonight, bringing me back to us. A little snapshot of a love rendered out of complete will, a love that still believed, a love that didn't know any better. Jasper, I can write you a lot of words right now, but it seems like you have a lot of those running rampant around your head. I urge you to give more validity to those feelings that sometimes are intangible to capture in words. Funny how that is, you and I, both poets, and yet feel so intensely and at times immeasurable by the containers that words offer. So when I lay these words in a text, a letter, when they slide off my tongue, know they carry the weight and light of an entire universe. I love you. Yours. See, in the end, you don't get it. You've never gotten it, and I was the fool who fell for you, so I will take responsibility for that. I am disappointed, honestly. But you know, I've been pushed to limits I've never dreamed of being pushed to. Let's be truthful. You've really been a shitty person to me, so unkind and selfish. 5 days in a hospital room does not take the place of being a father. Although I cherish it as one of the most benevolent acts another person has ever done for me, it was probably all you could do to save some sort of face, to leave your mark somewhere in your daughter's history. Are you happy? And how dare you think I would give her your last name, and you're lucky I hyphenated it at all. I think back now, and I can't believe how fallacious I was to stand by you. I feel like I was conned. I don't even know who you are. But Aurora and I, we're going to survive this. We've been surviving. And although you have altered my life and views on companionship drastically and hurt me the worst, I feel sorry for you. Because you're missing out on the best part. The ultimate creative endeavor, the best song ever written. Despite it all, I am grateful for you. You provided the DNA to create the best thing that has ever happened to me. Thank you for your best, and good luck. I hope you find your way. Me. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Ariana. That's beautiful. Boy, we've heard some good stuff tonight. I'm telling you, I just want to jump up and down. Just great. Thanks to everybody who performed. But last, and certainly not least, is a good old buddy of mine. I think the first time I ever saw him was, I don't know, maybe about 100 years ago, riding a unicycle and playing a saxophone in New York City. Now he lives in Osaka, Japan, and he's flown all the way in to do our show tonight. We're real happy to have him with us, and let's give a big warm welcome to Paul Fleischer.
This is called The Meanest Man. There was a man. He was mean. He was the meanest man you ever seen. I mean, so mean. Hey, you know what I mean? I mean, dogs were afraid to bark. They just hid in the dark. And children were afraid to play. They just ran away. And even the devil, even the devil was heard to say, tell him I'm not here. Tell him he can't stay. Let's do lunch, but not today. Tell him anything, but please, make him go away. There was a man. Man, he was mean. I mean, the meanest man you ever seen. I mean, so mean. You know what I mean? I mean, even his heart hated him. And she'd say, I want a divorce today. But the mean man just sneered, no way. You're mine till death do us part. And then I'm gonna go out and break another heart. 'Cause I take what I want, I take what I find. More for me more and mine. Now this heart was a sweetheart, but nobody's fool. She had a plan. She was cool. She said, okay, you had your way. But now it's my turn, and since you're too dumb to learn, I'm gonna give you some nasty heartburn. So she broke off 2 ribs, rubbed them together and made smoke. And the smoke and the heat made the mean man choke. He said, cut that out, give the rest, or I'm gonna tear you out of my chest. But this heart wouldn't stop. Her plan was clear. As smoke bellowed out of the mean man's ear, she was determined. She poured on the gas, and the mean man shrieked as flames shot from his ass. And he ran to the hospital and pounded on his door, and he said, is there a doctor in this house? What the hell is this place for? I want you to cut out my heart. I don't want to know more. The doctors were astonished. What did he say? Why, we can't do that. Don't you know why? Well, because without a heart, you surely will die. No heart, bye-bye. Why? That's why. Don't you get it? Forget it. I'll do it myself. And he grabbed the knife from the hospital shelf and he cut out his heart, threw his heart on the floor saying, goodbye, Rich, I don't want you no more. Now you all remember this before I depart. Real mean men don't need heart. Cheney, 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 boom, boom, but Cheney, 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 boom, boom, but Cheney, Cheney, Cheney. Man, what a dick.
Well, last week I was on an airplane. Actually, about 5 days ago, I was on an airplane. I live in Osaka, Japan. My wife is Japanese. And we've been living there for a long time. And we come back here once in a while. And it's nice to come back. It's great to see you, Lee. Let's see. I can play something. Oh, I can tell you another story. I write these musicals. I've been writing them for about 45 years, and you know the usual thing. We can't do that. You know what I mean? It's too expensive. Fuck you. Thank you very much. Maybe next time I will. Anyhow, I can see the airplane's leaving. Thank you all. Should play something. I haven't practiced in a while. I've kind of been busy, but what the hell. Hey, I know. Listen, I got this. There's this. I write a little crazy shit. Anyhow, this is called Olé. It's called The Origins of Life on Earth. It's a musical, and it takes the point that we humans are perfect. We got the technology, we got the know-how, and then God goes, wisdom, and the guy says, hey, come on, it's not my field. And anyhow, the basic point of it is that we humans are perfect because we have all this stuff, and if we blow it, it's our fault. We know now. We don't have to look around for, hey, we need more research. No, it's all here. Anyhow, it opens up with the very first life forms on Earth, Noah, the protozoa, and amoeba, and goes on to Festival of Small Minds. It goes on dinosaurs. Anyhow, I'd like to just do the lyrics of, it's called Chameleons and the Origins of Racism. I think, okay. Chameleons change colors when they're feeling blue. That's what chameleons do. A long time ago they had a problem, they see. They couldn't agree what color to be. Some turn purple and some turn gray, and some turn white. We like to keep it that way. No way, so way, said black and red. You mess with that, you wind up dead. Now, way downtown in Chameleon Town, you gotta be the right color to get around. Now, chameleons change colors at the count of 3, but they can't agree what color to be. So they hate themselves, they hate each other. They even get down and diss each other's mother. And they hate themselves and they hate each other. They even get down and diss each other's mother. Now, with all of that hate, the population went down. Of course, you can't procreate when there's no love around. Not even foreplay. That's no fun. Chameleons heading for extinction. Yes, chameleons heading for extinction. But then one day the great chameleon came to say, he said, give me your money and I'll show you the way. He said, give me your money, give me your money, give me your money and I'll teach you to pray. So by day they pray. And at night he messed around stealing everything that wasn't nailed down. And he filled all this booty and his booty and junk and put it in his boat. And he put it in his boat and he put all his junk, but the boat wouldn't float. It just sank with a plunk.
All right.